The Vegh family has very fittingly captured memories, not only in written words, but in video remembrances of their son Marcus. It's very fitting on the heels of Father's Day that they would allow us to share in, well, just watch.
Marcus was a devoted father who always was there for his children, even in his last days at the hospital. In fact, just about 3 days before his passing, he had a great desire to get out of that bed and has asked for a special permission to be released from the hospital so that he could go to his son Matthew's football game. This was an incredible event. Of course, Marcus, being so very weak, yet being conscious of not embarrassing his son, he did not want to be in a wheelchair. So his two brothers-in-law, Gail on one side and Randy on the other, escorted him about 1,000 yards across that field to where the football game was taking place. Marcus had a front seat row, and he was cheering his son, who was in the game, and certainly reminding him that even when he was gone to heaven, he would be watching from the heavenly portals to see his son win not only this game, but the whole game of life. And that's Marcus, because of his passion for his family and his love for his son. He was there, even to the very end. Just 3 days before his passing, you can see the glory of God on his face and the joy that filled his heart watching his son play that game.
It's so fitting that the day after Father's Day, we would have Moses and Betty Vegh, ambassadors of hope, with us. Their original home, Budapest, Hungary. Now they live in Southern California. They have pastored in Ohio for 27 years, where they founded Hope Temple in Findlay, in that state. They really now are global ambassadors, planting, mentoring, equipping leaders in Europe, China, Africa, India, Asia, Latin America, and newly opening Islamic nations now. What a story, what a couple. And 2 difficult Father's Days since you were with us last, yes, folks. I'm just going to show the cover of a beautiful memorial bulletin. Talk about meaningful words. We could sit here and read the whole thing and be blessed. October 20th, 2007, Marcus went home to be with the Lord. Your 4th child of 6. Right. And I think the first startling fact is that, Betty, the timing of the news of Marcus' cancer was almost, I would think, too much to bear. Tell us what was happening in your life.
In April of 2006, I was diagnosed with colon cancer, and Marcus came from Idaho, where he lived, to California to be with me and to pray with me and just be a great encouragement. 3 weeks later, he was diagnosed with throat cancer and given 3 months to live. It ended up he lived 18 months and just was a great inspiration, just showed us how to live amongst the difficulties of life, and the Lord just really helped us and encouraged us all through this. And he kept smiling through the whole thing. He was just so interested, so excited about God, always has been. When he was just a child, he was called our weeping Jeremiah, always at the altar praying for souls. And this was his life. His total life was to win souls for Christ. And he traveled all over the world, many, many places, and done a great work for him. And I was just honored to be his mother. And I'm just so thankful for that we had a wonderful son like Marcus.
Now, the Lord has done something wonderful for you.
Definitely.
You're healed?
It's a miracle, yes. Over 3 years ago. So I want to give encouragement to the folks that have cancer, been diagnosed with cancer. God knows he has your days. He knows when each of us are going to go. But I was the one that was chosen to live for some reason. I would have much rather traded with my son, which
Now-
everybody knows that with their own children.
I'm
If
sure.
anybody's been through that.
Now, Marcus' children were also praying that God would heal Daddy.
Yes, of course.
But he said himself that the children were also accepting of the fact that the Lord might choose to take their dad home to heaven.
Yeah, Marcus gave them such a powerful grounding in the Word. He taught them the Word of God. He took it seriously. And his whole concept was telling it in story format so that everybody could understand it. And of course, he impressed that into the heart of his children. In Deuteronomy chapter 6, God said, you know, I want you to take this word and sharpen it and press it into the heart of your children. And Marcus did that.
Marcus was a media man from 1978, media communications, productions, and how wonderfully this married his heart for reaching people.
Right.
I didn't know that so many people groups either don't read or don't even have a written language. There's nothing to write down. You can't prepare a gospel for them in their language because they don't have one that's in print.
The amazing thing was that God spoke to Marcus's heart about these people, and he was blessed to be in a fellowship of strategic leaders of missions around the world. Some of the world's greatest missionary minds met together, and Marcus inspired them, really challenged them, and said, look, what are we doing for these people who don't have a language? So he'd done 3 years of intensive research and found out that there was at least 639 people groups that he targeted, and that's over 500 million people in many different countries who did not have a written language. So what they did, they sat down around the table, 12 men, and they told the Bible story and recorded it from Genesis to Revelation in story format. And it's amazing, over 400 stories that they recorded and about 48 hours of audio that they put together, which is now being translated into many, many languages. And it's all digital, so we can send it into China, for example, without any problem. And they're reproducing it there by the thousands. And it's the whole story of the Bible in a written story format that they understand in their own language.
I looked at these facts and these numbers and I thought, we need to know about this. Jesus said this gospel will be preached to the whole world and then the end will come.
Right.
We're in the wrap of history.
Absolutely.
And this incredible network of leaders, we're talking Wycliffe Bible translators, Campus Crusade for Christ. Help me out. Who else did I see
here?
We're
talking about Paul Eshelman, who was the head of the Jesus Film Project, who has now taken Marcus's place as the director of finishing the task. And then Avery Willis, who was with the Southern Baptist Missions, and men of that caliber.
Avery.
Lauren Cunningham. Actually, Marcus was at Lauren's place when he first was smitten with this cancer. And it was there during a key strategic meeting they were having, a strategy meeting on reaching these people groups. So he's had touch with some of the great men.
Interesting. Paul Eshelman, I saw him on the video piece. I almost went to work for him 25 years ago doing voices for the Jesus Film translations.
Wow.
Didn't happen. But here he is still pursuing his passion as part of this. And Avery, who was with us not very long ago, is the first man to introduce me to orality. The whole concept of, it's really music, drama, and stories to reach people that don't have a written language.
Marcus's passion was to do that. In fact, he's the one that challenged Avery because, as you know, the Southern Baptists were leaders in world missions in their denomination for many years. But Marcus challenged him. He said, what are we doing with the people who don't have a written language? What are we doing with people who can't read a book or a Bible? So they came up with this challenging concept and developed it. And of course now Avery is heading up the Orality Conference as a result of that.